$847. That's what leaves your account on the 3rd of every month. Not rent, not groceries, a car. A 2021 SUV you leased at 22 because the finance guy at the dealership said, for what you're already spending on gas and repairs on that old thing, this basically pays for itself. It did not pay for itself. You are 27 now. You have made 60 payments. You have never once come close to owning this vehicle. You've paid $50,820 to drive something you will hand back next spring with a mileage cap you're already 4,000 miles over. Which means a fee, which means the affordable lease has one more bill left in it before it's even finished punishing you. You didn't notice it first. That's the part nobody warns you about. The $847 didn't feel like anything at 22. It felt like an upgrade. Heated seats, a backup camera, the kind of car that made you feel, for the length of one test drive, like you'd already made it. The first rule. A car payment doesn't feel like debt while you're making it. It feels like an accessory to your life. It only starts to feel like debt in hindsight once you've done the math on what it actually cost you to feel that way for 5 years. You run the number that changes everything at 24. Not the lease number, the other one. What $847 a month invested instead at an average market return would have become by the time you were 60. You do it on a Tuesday night, half out of curiosity, half out of dread. The number is $1.4 million. You stare at it the way you'd stare at a stranger who somehow knew your name. That number was never explained to you at the dealership. Nobody at the dealership was incentivized to explain it to you. You don't trade the car in immediately, you're not that person yet, but something shifts, quietly, the way it always does before a real decision. You start doing math you never used to do. You start noticing the difference between a payment and a purchase. The second rule. Every dollar going out the door every month is either buying you a future or renting you a feeling. Most car payments are the second thing dressed up as the first. At 25, you sell the SUV. You take the loss. It's not small. Trading in a lease early, even a well-timed one, costs you $3,100 you'll never see again. Your friends think you're insane. One of them just leased a truck with a payment $200 higher than yours ever was and can't understand why you'd give up a nice ride for some Honda you bought with cash. You don't explain it well because the explanation takes longer than the conversation allows. You buy a 6-year-old Accord for $14,200 financed for 18 months at a rate that stings less every payment. Your new car payment is $410. The gap between that and your old $847 is $437 a month. You don't spend it. You automate it into a brokerage account before you ever see it hit your checking. You are 26. You've done this for 11 months. $4,807 sits in the account plus whatever the market did with it, which this year wasn't much, but it was something, and something compounding beats nothing every single time. Your Accord payment ends. You don't upgrade. This is the moment most people upgrade, the moment the old payment disappears and a new one rushes in to fill the space, because the space itself has started to feel uncomfortable, like your life is somehow smaller without a bill in it. You resist that instinct on purpose. You keep driving the Accord. You keep sending $847 a month into the account, the exact number you used to send to a leasing company, except now it's going somewhere that sends it back. The third rule. The habit was never the problem. The direction was. You were always capable of paying $847 towards something. Nobody taught you that the something mattered more than the payment itself. You're 29. The account is $38,600. Your Accord has 130,000 miles on it, and you've replaced the brakes twice and a serpentine belt once. Total repair cost over 3 years is $1,240, which is less than 2 months of what your old lease cost you. Your coworker, the truck guy, is on his 3rd lease now. Different truck, same payment, no equity, no account, no number he's ever run at night that scared him to change anything. You don't say this to him. You've noticed at every level of this that pointing it out helps nobody and just makes people defensive about a decision they already know, somewhere quiet, they didn't fully choose. You're 31. You buy your first rental property, a small condo you'll rent out near a hospital that's expanding. Your down payment, $19,000, comes almost entirely from the account that used to be a car payment. You didn't save for this down payment separately. You didn't grind for it in some dramatic way. You just stopped feeding a machine that ate your money and started feeding one that gave it back 7 years before most people your age even start asking the question. The fourth rule. The gap between the payment and the asset is not a small gap. It compounds into an entirely different decade. At 34, you finally buy a car with cash. Not because you can't finance one, because you've run enough numbers by now to know exactly what financing this particular purchase would cost you an opportunity, and you'd rather keep the opportunity. You buy something reliable, unremarkable, the kind of car nobody at a dealership would ever call a status symbol. You don't need it to be one. Your net worth, mostly from the condo and the account that started as a directed car payment, has crossed $210,000. You are not rich, you are ahead, quietly, in a way that doesn't show up in a driveway. Your coworker with the truck is on his 5th lease. He still doesn't have a down payment saved for anything, he still thinks the truck is the win. And somewhere tonight there's a 22-year-old sitting in a dealership finance office being told that for what they're already spending on gas and repairs, this basically pays for itself. They believe it. Everyone does the first time. They sign. The payment starts on the 3rd of next month. Whether it becomes a lost decade or a down payment depends entirely on a number they haven't run yet, one they don't even know exists. $847. It always starts there. It doesn't have to end there.